Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dan Wolf, filling in for Briggs LaSavage this afternoon. We'll have a live report previewing what we expect to hear from the president coming up in just a few minutes. But first, an immigration enforcement bill now moves to the U.S. House after Senate Republicans passed it early this morning.
On this vote, the yeas are 52, the nays are 47. This bill, as amended, is passed.
That vote happening about 5 this morning during what is being called a vote-a-rama. The $70 billion package funds ICE and Border Patrol through the rest of President Trump's term. Its passage is a major win for him, along with what's not in the legislation. The final version does not rebuke the president for proposing what he calls an anti-weaponization fund. He says it would compensate people who claim the federal government victimized them. Democrats and many Republicans consider the $1.8 billion allotment as a slush fund for Trump allies. Some worrying it could even pay rioters who attacked police officers while storming the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021. That includes Minnesota U.S. Senator Amy Klobuchar, who commented on the vote this morning. She wrote on Facebook saying, quote, "Your tax dollars should not be going to Jan 6 rioters who went after officers," adding, "Why give more money to ICE when they're already bigger than the FBI?" We'll have more reaction from lawmakers on both sides of the aisle coming up later tonight.